But we are going to go ahead and get started. We're so excited to have you join us today, and we've got 30 minutes to talk about STAAR test prep in Curipod. My name is Tracy Purdy. I'm the Director of Professional Learning here at Curipod, and I have two other fabulous people with me today. I'll turn it over to you, Heather, to say hello.
Hi, I'm Heather Brantley. I am Events and Community Specialist. I'm based out of Texas, but love to travel the U.S. to learn more curious things with Curipod. Now I'll turn it over to Claudia.
Thank you, ladies. So my name is Claudia Garcia. I'm a Texas teacher out here in the Brownsville area, and I'm constantly using Curipod. So I'm here just to share a little bit of what I do in the classroom.
Awesome. Well, good. Well, before we dive into actually showing you Curipod, I just wanted to highlight that we do have an incredible case study. This is the story of a sixth grade teacher who faced a very big challenge. She had about 75% of her students that were not meeting or mastering. They were struggling to meet those grade level expectations on the STAAR test. And then she tried Curipod. She introduced it and was using it around 2 times a week in the classroom with her students, creating lessons on things that they were interested in. And her students were getting immediate feedback from AI and getting to practice and revise that same passage over and over. And that experience led her students to have a 22% increase in the meets and masters category on that STAAR prep. So that's what we're here today to talk about, is how we can use Curipod and why Curipod works so well for supporting students with STAAR test prep. And I had Claudia come because there's nobody better to show us how to use Curipod to prep for STAAR. And so I will turn the screen sharing over to her.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Tracy. And I do have a lesson ready to go already, but I do want to go ahead and show you all how easy it is just from start to finish, how to launch a lesson. So if you were my next door neighbor and you had never heard of Curipod before, you happen to hear it from me, the crazy teacher down the hallway, this is what I would tell you. So this is how easy it is to get your lesson. So we are on the home page of Curipod. I go to my get lesson, and because we're in the midst of all this STAAR prep and we know it's blitz time, I would not concentrate on any of the other ones. Mind you, there's tons of resources, but for the sake of time and for today, we're going to go to the STAAR prep material. And any good old ELAR teacher in Texas knows that everything right now is like madness on short constructed responses and extended constructed responses. For today, we're, however, going to just concentrate on the SCR. Hopefully at another time, we'll go ahead and do the ECR as well. But for today, you see this library. So this is under all of the testing prep material. We are under STAAR because, hey, Texas. So I'm going to go ahead and launch out the informational passage for short constructed response practice. I'm going to go ahead and get my lesson, and I'm going to pretend that I am your next door crazy teacher in the 7th grade hallway. Good topics for today. Do you want to go ahead and y'all want to give me some ideas on hot topics right now, aside from the Super Bowl that everybody's going crazy for? All right, well then I'll go ahead and do
Golden Globes that were announced today, or Graham, what was the one? Oscars. Oscars. Thank you, Lori. Yes.
Let's go ahead and run with that. So I'll have my class in 7th grade. A hot topic for us is going to be the Oscars, the Oscar Awards. Is it the Oscars or Oscar?
Oh, probably the Academy Awards probably
The
would
Academy
be
Awards?
Yeah.
Okay. And for this lesson, we're going to go ahead and focus on controlling idea or thesis. I just find that to be just one of my favorites, especially when dealing with short constructed responses. If I was a teacher and I was showing this to my fellow teacher, I'd be like, hey, you know what, while this is going, take attendance really quick because we're probably going to forget, right? So it's so easy that while you're taking attendance, you have a lesson, being customized for you. And of course, if you're, at the dread of the morning, you can be inspired by some of the little quotes that are on there as well. While we wait. And trust me, with like 3 different monitors on campus here, I would just take attendance, sip on my coffee or fix up my coffee, and then come back to my desk and know that my lesson is ready. So voila, we have an entire lesson ready to go. It looks pretty good. Just from what was generated. As a teacher, I'm like, hey, you know what? I need this font to be a little bit bigger. So I'm just gonna go ahead and adjust it a tad bit more. That looks good. That looks good. All right, so we have a full lesson ready to go. I'm gonna ask you to go ahead and join us, my students. But again, if I was showing this to my next door neighbor teacher, I would literally guide them through this process. However, because you guys are here and I wanna make sure that I maximize your time, I'm gonna ask you to immerse yourself in this as my students. So please do me a favor. Go ahead and log in. Let me get that volume. I am going to leave the little music on. I know sometimes we tend to turn it off for the presentations. Let me know if it bothers you. But apparently today I tried it with my students and they're like, no, we want the music. It helps us write faster. So, all right. So I have a crazy pen logging in, amazing smile, thriving. Sorry, there goes my announcements. So I have my participants on board, and notice while you logged in, it gave you a code name, but it also gave you an option to write in your real name. If you didn't do that, please do me a favor and do so. I always tell my students to do that. That way, when I run my reports after the lesson, I actually have real names, real students to give a grade to. Okay. And one more thing, I'm going to go ahead and open my moderation. And this one, I'm going to scroll it over to another tab so I can see all my participants on the go. So I see C. Watson, Lori, Tracy, and Heather Brantley. Is that attendance seem on points? I think so. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and get started. So if I'm running the lesson, I'm telling my students, okay, kiddos, today we're gonna be practicing STAAR prep. And of course, this is where the, you don't want to. And hopefully by the end of the class, you, as my students, can go ahead and have a different feel to STAAR prep. So for today's purposes, we are concentrated on informational passage, SCR. And Ms. Garcia, my students tend to ask me, Ms. Garcia, what's an SCR? I'm so confused. Is this a long one or is this a short one, right? Those are the typical responses that, we get from students. And every single one of my lessons, I make sure that I go over this specific part. I never go, past it, just because the more that the kids know how they're going to be graded, they know what to anticipate, they know what to plan for. So I go over this. Okay, kiddos, just as a reminder, today we're going over the short constructed response. Maximum points that everybody can, collect on this response is, and they would say 2 points, ma'am. Okay, how do we get the points? Here is the breakdown. One, and first and foremost, make sure that you correctly respond to the question, right? You have to give me an answer. And second, text evidence. That's it, right? And, I literally have a little graphic organizer that I use. I can, it's not going to show because of the blurriness, but I can drop it into the chat. It's just a little graphic organizer that I use with them. So we go over this and everybody understands the task at hand. They know what the outcome should be. So I have the passage here. As you can see, it took me seconds, right, to run this article. And I'll go ahead and have my kiddos read it. So I'll go ahead and give you all, how much time do we need to read this? I'll go ahead and put 2 minutes on the clock. Let me get my timer. And you are going to go ahead and read it because I do want for you guys to get good feedback on this. So I'll give you 2 minutes starting now. Let's go ahead and glimpse through it. Lights, camera, action, the magic of the Academy Awards. And as you guys are going, as you guys are reading, remember, because we're reading informational, we're going to be collecting facts. If there's specific dates, specific places that are mentioned, if there's a specific actor or a specific character, right, that is mentioned, we know that we are reading informational. So be on the lookout for that as you guys are reading. Typical things that I would say if, you know, I was in my classroom with my students. You guys are about another minute. And just so you know, you can stretch out your little window view. It has like a little pinch button. If you click on it, the passage expands a little bit more for those of you who are new users. That way you can get familiar with the slides and the presentation for it. We're at about another 22 seconds. This is what I would be expecting my students to go through, just reading the passage, understanding what they're talking about, if there were specific dates, things like that. All right, so that's my timer. All right, kiddos, so I hope that you guys enjoyed the passage. So what did you notice? What was something that stood out to you about the magic of the Academy Awards? And you guys can come off mute, just pretend like you're my students. We're learning together.
That it's one of the oldest award ceremonies.
Yes, very good. Anything else aside from it's one of the oldest ceremonies? Anything else?
It's
The members who are in the academy are the ones who actually, and work in the film industry are the ones who vote on who wins.
All right, perfect. Sounds really good. All right, kiddos. So, and again, the elaboration or discussion can go on as long or as short as you want to. That's, you know, on the teacher side. So we're going to go on to the next slide. And on this slide, I want for you guys to go ahead and think about something that you relate to in this text. So as you were reading, think about maybe, you know, a little retrieval process, right? Think about the times that maybe you've seen the awards. Maybe you've sat through the award ceremony with your mom. Maybe you've tuned in. Maybe you've always wanted to go. Something that you relate to in the text. And I am actually going to go give you 1 minute only. I should see my students responding. You can say something like, something that I relate to in this text is that. I should see everybody adding some responses. I don't see my responses, kiddos. If anybody needs an extra minute, just let me know. My kiddos are super good at always asking for a little bit more time. That's not a problem at all. Thank you,
Miss,
Heather.
I need more time.
Yes, 1 minute granted. That it changes over the years, but still glamorous. Nice job, Heather. Thank you for your comments. Something I relate to the text is that it adds new categories to help with embracing diversity in the film industry. Man, Lori, that's a really good one. And so what I'm doing also, as you guys are typing in, there is a moderation tool embedded within Curipod. And that is why I have like my other screen. So I'm looking on this side. Your responses are coming in real time. I'm able to respond immediately. See, Watson, something I relate to in this text is voting to decide on winners for different categories. We did that in our class. Nice job. And the list goes on. And, you know, they come in so fast that, you know, I don't know, for me, I have to be super caffeinated. I'm like reading through all of them. And although my students have their code names, I decide, right, if I want to go ahead and call them out like I did with you all, Lori, C. Watson, Heather Brantley, but you don't have to. You can just, you know, say, oh, wow, this is a really good one, something I relate to. And then the kids are like, ma'am, that was my response. And so it's really, really neat to see this. relate to having seen some of the different animated films nominated this year. Love that it is also about entertainment. Nice job to all of you. So I am going to give you the chance to vote on each other's responses, and I'll adjust the time, and you can do this as well if you have a larger class like I do. I have about 32 students. Typically, I'll go for like 2.5 minutes, but if we're a small group, so I'll go and drop it down to 1 minute. Let's go ahead and start voting. Which one is your favorite response as to how your classmates, which is you all, how do you find this article most relatable to yourself? Okay, I see 14 votes already. Really good. 15 votes. Let's see who will make the top answer. And I can also end the voting, right? So if I know that for the most part my class is done, and this is where the kids will be like, Mom, I wasn't done. It's okay. You all are in full control. All right, so this is your choice. I had nothing to do with this. This is all your voting. So something I relate to in this text is voting to decide on winners for different categories. We did this in our class. So if that was your response, man, shout out to you. Awesome. This is what your classmates, in other words, our other participants, decided was the best one. Something I relate to the text is that it adds new categories to help with embracing diversity in the film industry. Now, I'm going to stop really quick right here before going on to the short construction response. While we're doing this, you're enabling all of the students to participate. Even the most, the shyest, the most quiet student in your classroom is participating. This is a very low stake activity that they get a chance to do even before they get to the actual mini formative assessment or informal assessment, however you take your SCR form. But again, everybody participates. We get a chance to see short little responses, but at the same time, everybody's saying, hey, this is what we understand from the text. So if you ask any good reading teacher, that going through the pillars of literacy, we want to always encourage our students to get to comprehension. Would you all think that this is also part of comprehension? Yes, I would say so. All right, and now moving on to the main piece of the puzzle. So read the question carefully, then record your answer in the box provided. What is the main purpose of the Academy Awards according to the passage? Make sure to support your answer with evidence from the text. So this is our main short constructed response prompt. And as a little reminder, all of our students get a little reminder down here at the bottom where it says you will get a score and feedback on your writing, earning of the most 2 points, right? So you get 1 for correctly responding and 2 using evidence from this text. I do want to remind you, you are able to go through the slides here where you have a little back and forth. You cannot go forward because we don't want for the kids to get ahead of the game, but they can always go back so they can, have access to their text evidence, right? So we do want for them to be quoting specifically from the text. So let's go ahead and give it a try. I'm not going to give you the whole 5 minutes. I'm going to do 2.5 minutes. All right. And you will be getting feedback. You are going to go ahead and get a score just like you would in the STAAR test. I love the way Watson is already restating her question. The main purpose of the Academy, nice job. I see Jennifer also adding her response in the article. I love that you guys are stating it like this. It's stated that the main purpose of the Academy Awards, and notice as I'm doing this, this is happening in real time in your classes. So if you do this, even that student who is hesitant to write will say, oh, that's what I should be writing, and immediately starts getting plugged in. So it's something that happens just so naturally in the classroom. It's really neat to see. In paragraph 5, the author states that the main purpose of the Academy Awards is, very good, Lori, I like your sentence structure. I like that you capitalize the Oscars because it is a main event, so awesome. Thank you. Just award show. They celebrate creativity and storytelling that captivate. That's such a good answer, Lori. The main purpose of the Academy Awards, according to the passage. I love that you guys are going back to according to the passage. This is what we want to encourage our students to do as well. And remember, your students can paraphrase or they can go directly with quotes. So just, it just depends on how you're teaching this and how you roll it out to your students. The main purpose of the Academy Awards is to recognize people's talent in the film. For instance, Ms. Watson, is there a way that you can add maybe a transition word to make your ideas even more clear? So again, I'm not saying that you guys are writing it correctly, but this is the opportunity that I get, or that we get as teachers while we're rolling out the lessons. We're able to immediately close those gaps in real time. It's just so awesome. Main purpose of the Academy Awards. You guys have about 20 more seconds. Let me know if anybody needs an extra minute or so. Otherwise, we stick to 15-second countdown. Looks like everybody has an answer. Yes, yes. All right. 3, 2, 1. Perfect. All right, so I have all my 5 answers, and this is where my kiddos do like a huge big deal. Drum roll, please. Everybody's about to get AI feedback, and you will find out if you were on the right track with either a 0, a 1, or a 2. 2 is our main goal. So as you all are reading your feedback, well, I encourage you to look at your phones or whatever device you're on, and you should be getting your feedback. This student, notice I said this student because everything remains anonymous unless the student wants to come off mute and say, hey, that was my answer, right? Hey, ma'am, or, you know, whatever the case is. This one, shout out to this student. The main purpose of the Academy Awards is to recognize people's talent in film. In paragraph 3, the author mentioned that the awards recognize excellence in categories like Best Actor and Best Director. So let's go ahead and see why this student did not get the whole 2 points. To me, it's really, really good. So high five to you. You don't have to come off mute. Again, if this was happening in the classroom, we would just treat it like, wow, you did really good. You did really great job identifying the main purpose. So did you answer? Yes, and that's all. That's the main thing that we want our students to do. Include maybe more specific evidence from the text to support your answer. And then it even gives them like a little next step. For the next time, try to add another piece of evidence from the text that shows how the Oscars celebrate creativity and storytelling. So this is the feedback that the kids walk away with like instantly. So that is like my favorite part. Now, I do want for you guys to hold yourselves accountable. How can you improve what you wrote based on the feedback? So go ahead and take a couple of seconds. Based on the feedback that you received, what could you do better next time if this was a rewrite? I already see Miss Tracy, evidence, yes. And again, that, you know, turns back to us, right? Like as teachers, what do we want to encourage our students to nail the next time? The text evidence. Okay. And then voila. Right? This gets displayed on the big screen. Your kiddos can literally see, oh, next time, this is what I need to concentrate on. Okay. And then of course you have either the choice to do a rewrite. I always do it with my students and so on and so forth. So I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing because I know I've done a lot of talking, but I wanted to go from start to finish on the lesson and just how to roll it out from start to finish. And everything that happens in between.
Claudia did an excellent job. I know that the students are lucky to be in your class. And honestly, I just love seeing how engaged everyone was today and participating, because I think that's what it's really all about, is jumping in and being curious together.
I agree. Thank you all so much for joining us. Please reach out if you have any questions whatsoever. There's a little orange chat feature at the bottom of Curipod, and if you click that, you're actually going to connect to somebody on the team. It is not AI or a chat bot or anything. You're connecting with us. So thank you again so much for joining us, and we hope you have a wonderful rest of your evening.